Good evening, all. I am Kaushik De, Senior Neurophysiotherapist of MRI Mukundapur. I am thankful to Federation of United Doctors, and also I am thankful to Dr. Amit Shankar Jana for providing me this opportunity to express my words on the role of physiotherapy on COVID-19. So, as the State President of IAP West Bengal branch, I, on behalf of Indian Association of Physiotherapists, welcome all. After so much of discussion here about the course and pathology of this COVID-19 last few days, I directly come to my point, which is the scope of physiotherapy with the COVID-19. Many people who have suffered with the effects of this disease might now be at risk of long-term impairment and disability. So rehabilitation here the most important, and it's a set of interventions designed to reduce disability and optimize functioning in the individuals. Physiotherapy is the key strategy here to reduce the impact of COVID-19 on the health and function of the individual. So physiotherapists are essential in all phase to early discharge, also to support and empower the patients. Physiotherapy can reduce the ICU-related complications. The aim of physiotherapy is to improve recovery and reduce disability. Physiotherapy interventions mainly addresses the physical impairments, cognitive impairments. It is also evident that older people and also people with pre-existing comorbidities are at higher risk for more severe illness. Physiotherapy can be beneficial in these populations to maintain their prior levels of functional ability and independence. During the pandemic, there is a very high demand for hospital beds worldwide. So here also physiotherapy is very much crucial in this scenario to prepare a patient for early discharge. In the post-acute phase, physiotherapists are very much important. The consequences of COVID-19 will be specific in each individual, and their rehabilitation results will be specific to these consequences, such as long-term ventilation, immobilization, deconditioning, related impairments like maybe respiratory, neurological, or musculoskeletal. COVID-19 patients will often present with pre-existing comorbidities, and this might taken into consideration in the physiotherapy plan for the patient. So the factors to consider in creating a physiotherapy plan should include the comorbidities like hypertension, coronary artery disease, stroke, diabetes, these etc. So these will have an influence on the rehabilitation plan and needs also. So also on the outcomes for the patient. Early complications we can see in the COVID-19 may be acute respiratory distress syndrome like ARDS, that is called ARDS, is sepsis or septic shock, multi-organ failure, acute kidney injury, cardiac injury, like that. So these complications often lead to the person being admitted in the ICU. Conditions that may arise from lengthy ICU stays include that critical illness polyneuropathy. It's a mixed sensory motor neuropathy that may lead to axonal degeneration, and studies have shown that patients hospitalized in ICU with ARDS may present with polyneuropathy commonly. It causes several difficulties such as difficulty weaning from mechanical ventilation, generalized and symmetrical weakness, distal greater than proximal. It is that distribution of the weakness, distal greater than proximal, but does also include diaphragmatic weakness, distal sensory loss, muscle atrophy, decreased or absent deep tendon reflexes, critical illness polyneuropathy, also associated with pain, loss of range of motion, fatigue, incontinence, cognitive loss. These are the associated complications you can see commonly. Also the myopathy, here you can see critical illness myopathy after prolonged stay in the ICU is present in 48 to 96% of patients in ICU with ARDS. It is a non-necrotizing diffuse myopathy with fatty degeneration and fiber atrophy and fibrosis. Myopathy is associated with exposure to corticosteroids and paralytics and sepsis here. It is similar clinical presentation with that polyneuropathy, but with more proximal weakness and sensory preservation. Patients recover more completely from myocarditis, in myopathies than polyneuropathies, but with both conditions, there are long-term consequences to consider, such as weakness, loss of function, loss of quality of life, poor endurance. Post-intensive care syndrome, also we can see here, is a distinct feature of COVID-19 when necessary of prolonged ICU care as well as ventilator reliance. The aftershock as a result of this long ICU period will be felt for many months and years. So these include cognitive impairments, memory and attention impairment, anxiety, depression, and physical impairments. You can see here with dyspnea, this means that impaired pulmonary function, reduced inspiratory muscle strength, pain, impaired exercise tolerance, poor upper extremity and grip strength, poor knee extension, severe fatigue, low functional capacity. These challenges we have to deal in the field of physiotherapy. In the neuromuscular, these type of neuromuscular complications often result in poor mobility, falls, and even quadriparesis. Quadriparesis means that weakness of all four limbs. We commonly see after the prolonged stay in the ICU. The post-COVID sequelae are commonly, you can see the cardiac sequelae are very much common. Here we can see the arrhythmia, cardiac insufficiency, ejection fraction decline, severe myocarditis with reduced systolic dysfunction. These need to be considered in the plan for physiotherapy. In neurological complications, the symptoms are headaches, disturbed consciousness, absence of sense. We already know it's very much common in the COVID-19 affected persons, this absence of sense and smell. Also with paresthesia, posterior reversible encephalopathy syndrome, viral encephalitis, increased risk for acute cerebrovascular event, and sometimes report of GB syndrome associated with this COVID-19 we can see. These also need to be considered for post-acute physiotherapy plan. And in the musculoskeletal sequelae, we can see that include physical deconditioning. It means that due to lack of use, weakness of the muscle and severe muscle weakness, reduced joint mobility, neck and shoulder pain due to prone lying, prolonged prone lying, impaired balance and gait, etc. In the pulmonary sequelae, we can see that impaired lung function, lung fibrosis may occur of pneumonia, patients showing respiratory insufficiency, needing respiratory rehabilitation. Patients with severe COVID-19 infection seem to have lengthy stays in ICU and many complications due to the prolonged immobilization and prone positioning. It is important to have the gradual progression from the weaning phase to start the physiotherapy protocols. Patients need to be monitored closely and accurately as they remain unstable for several after extubation. For an inpatient rehabilitation unit, I should mention here a separate area for the rehabilitation based single-use equipment. Minimize the number of personnel in patient or walking practice if it is needed should be done in the area only used for the other persons. Surgical masks should be worn by patients and therapists should be using the necessary PPE. Patients should always practice the social distancing also. Some general rehabilitation consideration in the post-acute phase we should mention here. Patients recovering from an acute COVID-19 event may present with a disability or functional damage or reduced participation and reduced quality of life. Variable recovery time dependent on the degree of normocapnic respiratory failure, associated physical dysfunction like asthenia, muscle weakness, emotional dysfunction. Simple and repeatable protocols to wean oxygen therapy should be used. Reconditioning interventions are indicated in wind patients and those with prolonged weaning from mechanical ventilation to improve physical status. We should evaluate the peripheral muscular strength and joint range of motion before start of physiotherapy, and exercise with gradual load increase can help to regain these type of persons to regain the function. To consider telehealth also means telehealth system also for patients those are in the isolation but in the acute condition need we can do with the telehealth system. And after post acute condition we should we should assess the balance function also if necessary, and exercise capacity and oxygenation response should be assessed always during the exercise. In respiratory rehabilitation, it's very much important in these COVID-19 affected persons. It is recommended not to begin too early to avoid aggravating. This should not be too aggravating in the early phase as it can aggravate the respiratory distress or dispersing the virus unnecessarily. Techniques such as diaphragmatic breathing, pursed lip breathing, bronchial hygiene, lung expansion techniques, that incentive spirometry, manual mobilization of rib cage. These are the techniques of respiratory rehabilitation for the physiotherapist. Respiratory muscle training and aerobic exercises, those may not be recommended in the acute phase, but in the event of comorbidities such as bronchiectasis, secondary pneumonia, and or aspiration increasing secretion, postural drainage and standing may help here as a to manage the secretion. In the post-acute phase, the respiratory rehabilitation may include inspiratory muscle training, diaphragmatic breathing, thoracic expansion with shoulder elevation, mobilization of respiratory muscle, airway clearance techniques if needed, incentive spirometer. These we can use in the post-acute phase when the patient is stable. We should be careful not to overload. This is important here also for physiotherapy plan, not to overload that respiratory system and not to cause the respiratory distress while doing the physiotherapy. Regarding functional abilities to assess muscle and joint range of motion, strength testing, balance, exercise capacity, like 6-minute walk test, we already know what is that. Continuous, it should be done with the continuous oxygen saturation monitoring. Cardiopulmonary exercise testing and activities of daily living, that is also necessary to assess. The ways of early mobilization, if it is needed, means if it is recommended, that include frequent posture changes, bed mobility, sit to stand, and simple bed exercises as per his tolerance. It is important to monitor the patient's respiratory and hemodynamic status during the exercise. Active limb exercises should be followed by progressive muscle strengthening. Progressive aerobic exercises can be started. Education on energy conservation also needed. Some home program activities also should be advised, like gradual increase of daily living activities and physical functioning as per his patient's tolerance. We can advise them that gradual increase of activity, and always exercise to do at low level, means low intensity to moderate intensity. Gradually it will be increasing, and history of with prolonged ICU stay or should be very low capacity exercise should be done in the home. And this type of activity can maintain the functional ability and to improve the functional ability of the COVID-19 affected persons. So in this way, we can the physiotherapy can help the persons with COVID-19 and to return his functional life again. So once again, I am thankful, and thanks to Federation of United Doctors, and congratulations from the Indian Association of Physiotherapists, West Bengal branch. Thank you all. Thank you.